Season's greetings and welcome to LAPR's holiday special, an online reading of the Straight Dope on Rudolph. As we celebrate the traditions associated with this season, it's good to remember an even older theatrical tradition, poking fun at people's petty, senseless, and self-important ways. Beginning with Greeks and Romans and enjoying a resurgence in the time of Moliere, theater has served as a funhouse mirror when we can see ourselves in a new way and hopefully laugh. Oddly, theater is becoming a place where we walk on eggshells, afraid of giving offense, and removing negative words from our scripts, even if they are being uttered by negative characters. It's a symptom of an increasingly divided society, each faction striving to silence those it opposes. Honestly, it's kind of like children who have never learned to talk rationally, endlessly repeating, shut up, and no, you shut up. But this play is intended for adults, people whose brains supposedly are fully formed in their 20s. Be warned, though, it has been called an equal opportunity satire. That means that after we skewer their demographic, we'll probably take a poke at your demographic. But it's all in good fun, in a spirit of peace and goodwill appropriate to the season. And that's all the trigger warning you're going to get. Finally, as Shakespeare wrote, or might have written if he were still with us, if we shadows do offend you, think but this, and it may mend you, that you only slumber here, not as woke as you appear. And these jests, unpleasant seeming, are not real. You're only dreaming. But if you insist on being furious, dude, take yourself so serious. And now, without much ado, here's the Straight Dope on Rudolph. Scene 1, the studio of a well-known NPR show.
From NPR and WTFF, this is Clear the Air. I'm Jerry Groves. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a staple of holiday specials, children's literature, and seasonal songs. But few people know the fascinating history of Rudolph's entry into popular culture. With me today to delve into this subject is the reindeer himself. Rudolph, thank you for joining us.
First of all, I want it clear that you are not calling me reindeer. It is insult. You will not define me as tied to sled and made to pull it.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. You think you are enlightened liberal, but are you caring about animal rights? Yet.
I assure you, I didn't mean to offend or...
And you will not call me red-nosed. It's okay to tell story how I was bullied. It's not necessary for you to do it.
Really, I didn't intend to...
Not to worry. I understand. It's hard for you to see how you are prejudiced.
Prejudice?
Ah, you are human supremacist, but you are blind.
Then please, help me to see how I'm insensitive. How, for example, should I refer to your species?
In Russia, where I was born, we are called Alinya.
Alenia?
Нет, Alinya.
I'm sorry, I don't...
Look, I know how public broadcasting system likes to say names of places and peoples just like natives. But I don't have time to teach you. Besides, it is very self-righteous how you do this thing. To us, you look like idiots, trying too hard. Just Say I am Caribou.
Okay. Rudolph the caribou.
And just for your information, Rudolph is not my real name. It was given to me by oppressor.
Oh, shit. I mean, how are you called in your native tongue?
Oh, oh.
I'm sorry.
Don't sweat it. You can call me Rudolph.
Thanks. And how would you like to be characterized?
What?
You know, instead of red-nosed.
Well, look at nose of me. What you see?
It's kind of tan with a little pinkish cast.
Would you even say it glows?
Well, no.
Exactly.
So, how did it come about that?
It was the way that Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen and Comet and Cupid, but especially Dasher, would always soak up to old Nick. Oh, Santa, this red suit, it looks so good on you. Oh, Santa, you work so hard bringing toys to children. Like he was the one pulling sled. One day, I had enough. You are all such brown nosers, I said. Well, they didn't want to hear it. So they started in on me. Red noser, ha, so clever. Hey, stoplight snout. A little better. At least it had alliteration. What's up, Beak Beak? Probably the best one. Short, snappy, and almost a rhyme. But Vixen, she was the most cruel. Oh, Rudolph, you know what I like most about you? It is not your antlers, it is not your eyes, and it is definitely not your hideous nose. In fact, I don't even like you at all.
Must have been traumatic for you to be singled out for such abuse.
Singled out? Ha! I was not only one. They would tear into Dunder and Bliksem just as much as me.
You mean Donner and Blitzen.
Well, it depends on which version of famous poem you have. There are many different ones, but Dunder was not brightest bulb on the tree. Old Nick called him Dunderhead or just Dunder. And Bliksem was a little slow mentally, so she got name which in Dutch means lightning. Old Nick was always sarcastic SOB.
But St. Nicholas, or Santa Claus, is always portrayed as jolly.
What do you mean always? Historical Saint Nicholas smashed Bishop Arius in mouth at ecumenical council. But it's beside point. This man has no connection to old Nick. For a long time, story of winter visitor coming down chimney tells of bringing sticks to beat children that were naughty, or even kidnapping them to work as slaves.
Really?
Well, what you think old Nick had in sack slung over back? Toys? Old Nick was boogeyman.
Oh, come on. Surely you're making that up.
What does song say? You better watch out.
Better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Keep going.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Uh, I was always told that just meant he wouldn't bring you presents.
No gifts. is least of worries for bad children. Think human trafficking, even cannibalism.
Well, maybe a long time ago.
Don't be fool. Tiger is not changing stripes, even if he's putting on red suit.
So you're saying that...
Just think about it. Santa is anagram for Satan.
What?
Da? And Old Nick is name for devil. Look it up. Sound of hooves on rooftop. Only recently did children think it was caribou.
So where did the story of a man bringing gifts come from?
Well, you have wise men in Bible bringing gifts to baby Jesus. Then some people would tell children that baby Jesus would bring them gifts if they were good. Kris Kringle comes from German for Christ child. And Feast of St. Nicholas was inventor, so some would say it was him. But along with Saint would come Black Peter, a demon controlled by Nicholas for doing horrible things.
Story of the jolly man with the white beard? Did the writer of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" make him up?
Net. As people invest, especially America, became affluent, Old Nick could see writing on the wall. He needed no image. Instead of terrorizing children, intelligent move was to appeal to greed and promote self-interest. I was not around back then, but Dundalk told me story about Nick's decision to visit home of Clement Moore as jolly little man with lots of toys. And Clement Moore wrote it all down in poem just as it happened, mostly.
Mostly. You mean parts of it were real and parts made up?
Ah,
So what parts were made up?
the whole bit about entering and leaving through chimney is nonsense. It was from legend about boogeyman sneaking into house that way.
So why do you say it's nonsense?
Think about poem. What is on ground outside?
Snow?
And what did people in early 19th century do to keep from freezing when snow was on ground at night?
Well, I guess they built a fire.
Correct, which is why they have the hanging stockings by the chimney to get them dry because they were wet after walking in snow. So, with fire going up chimney, nobody is coming down.
So how did he get in?
Well, normally Old Nick would Jimmy a window open, but Clement Moore had opened one already to see what was going on outside.
And he came in the same window that Moore was looking out of?
Da, shoved that slack-jawed idiot aside and hopped right in.
But that's not how Clement Moore told the story.
Probably hurt his pride being pushed around by little old man.
I could see that. Tell me, Rudolph, what's it like living at the North Pole with Santa and his elves?
Is nobody living at North Pole? It's only ice on top of seawater.
Well, where does Santa live?
Most recently, Saskatchewan, in northmost part.
He moves around?
Da,
Why is that?
income tax. No government believes he operates international toy business and only gets paid in milk and cookies.
Okay, then what's it like living in Saskatchewan with Santa and his elves?
Seriously? You believe in elves?
Why not?
It's ridiculous.
I don't seem so ridiculous. I'm interviewing a freaking talking caribou.
And what is point you make?
Never mind. So, if it's not elves, who makes all the toys?
Well, back when I was guiding sleigh, it was oppressed Mexicans. Now it's mostly oppressed Chinese.
Rudolph, I really want to hear your story about being chosen to guide Santa's sleigh. It obviously wasn't because your nose glowed in the dark. But first, I'd like to go back to a previous question. If it's offensive for people to call you red-nosed or a reindeer, what would you like to be called? Just plain Rudolph the caribou? Or is there something more?
Da. Rudolph the anarchist caribou.
You are an anarchist?
Da.
Why?
When you see what I have seen, oppression in sweatshops making toys, subjugation of caribou to deliver toys, religion and government and big business working hand in hand to promote Christmas as obscene orgy of greed and guilt-driven consumerism, the only logical choice is to become anarchist.
Well, thank you, Rudolph, for that insight. This is Clear the Air, and I'm Jerry Groves. We'll be back with the story of Rudolph's rise from obscurity to become the iconic figure he is today, right after a brief message from your NPR station.
Scene 2, a different local radio station studio.
We'll return you to Clear the Air in just a moment. But first, we want to remind you that this and other public radio programs don't grow on trees.
That's right, and they don't appear under trees on Christmas morning either.
Which is another way of saying that they cost money.
So when you're hanging up your wreath of holly and admiring those glossy green leaves, just remember that we need lots of green to operate this station.
And when you see those red holly berries, please realize that we can't operate in the red.
That's why we're asking you to make a contribution during this bi-monthly fund drive.
We're pretty sure since you are listening to this public radio station, you are probably not the kind of person who works long, hard hours at a lower middle-class job or struggles to operate your own business.
So, when we say that you can help provide free public radio to countless listeners for less than what you spend on lattes and cappuccinos in a week, we're counting on you having lots of privileged upper-class liberal guilt.
That's right. So don't be a Scrooge. Open up your hearts and your checkbooks and give to support us.
It's not just necessary, it's the right thing to do.
Not only that, but if you pledge more than some disgracefully low amount of money, like $5 or $10 a month, we'll send you one of these really cool gifts that we've got here in the studio.
Yeah, no kidding. They are so cool. We've got these great polyester t-shirts that have our call letters on the front, along with our location on the FM dial.
Yes, and this is what I like best. On the back it says, I gave bunches of money to support public radio. What did you do?
That is in such good taste, putting it on the back like that.
What do you mean?
Well, if it was on the front, it would call attention to your generosity, but it's on the back, so they don't even see your face.
That's right. And you don't see them when they give you a thumbs up.
Or when they give you the middle finger.
So if you pledge now, you can have your choice of that great t-shirt or one of these ball caps with our call letters on the FM frequency displayed prominently above the visor.
Either way, you're helping pay our bills. And to show you our appreciation, we're letting you give us free advertising.
That's what you call a win-win.
Speaking of winning, if you call us up or go online to make a pledge, you will automatically be entered into a drawing for something really valuable.
That's right. You won't just be getting cheap, mass-produced Chinese t-shirts or ball caps with our advertising on them that cost us next to nothing. You will have a chance to win something that literally costs us nothing.
We've persuaded businesses that sponsor us to provide decent stuff that is actually worth the amount you pledge or more.
For example, if you pledge today, you could win dinner for two at La Casa de Mama Caliente.
We'll have that drawing at the end of the day today and announce the winner tomorrow. And we'll also enter you into the grand prize drawing to be held at the end of the week.
That's where you could win a trip to Cancun.
So what are you waiting for? Call us or go online now to pledge $10, $20, $50 or more per month.
Really, any amount you can afford will help, even if it's only $10. Of course, you can afford more, but only pledge $10. That $10 will still help. But you'll always know that you're a cheapskate.
And if you are a highly paid professional like a doctor or a lawyer, and you charge a patient or client a couple $100 for a visit to your office, but you're not willing to donate more than $50 a month for hours and hours of news, entertainment, and special programs like Clear the Air, well, all I can say is, you ought to be ashamed.
It's our mission as a public radio station to provide top quality content to the public free of charge. But you can only do this if you, the public, will pay for it.
That's right. You can't expect us to work here to do it for nothing. We've got to make a living.
Just think of what you're helping to provide when you contribute $10, $20, or $50 a month. Hours and hours of informative programming without the interruption of annoying commercials.
Plus, hours and hours of annoying fund drives, occasionally interrupted by informative programming.
And what could be more informative than Clear the Air?
I know. It's one of my favorite programs.
I just love Jerry Groves, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Almost as much as I love guilt-tripping our listeners.
And we're able to hear her every week because generous listeners give $10, $20, or $50 a month. So, with that not-so-subtle reminder, we return you to our regular programming.
Come on, dude. I'm on a roll.
Don't worry, we'll be on again in 15 or 20 minutes. But do you think you could ratchet back the venom a little?
Hey, I'm inspired. I love sticking it to those hypocritical upper-class, overeducated, mostly white, silver spoon-sucking liberals.
Are you off your meds again?
Not anymore.
What do you mean, not anymore?
Well, I did miss a few doses recently, but I more than made up for it this morning.
Oh, great. Just what I need.
No, seriously, I am absolutely fine. I swear to God. Her local representative.
What? What is it, Clarence? I'm trying to have a conversation. What do you mean we're still on the air? What? I turned it over to you ages ago. What? You can't just leave the restroom for the restroom in the middle of the... Wait. Well, next time, use the flippin' coffee pot. Nobody's watching, and it might improve the flavor of the... Okay. All of us here at your NPR station, thank you for your generosity and wish you all happy holidays.
Scene 3, the well-known NPR show studio.
First came to public attention through the song?
What song?
You know, the one that talks about your nose.
You talking about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Yes, but I thought you found the title objectionable.
What is problem? It's name of song. It's not my name, but we already talk about this. Why you so oversensitive?
Just wanted to avoid emotional triggers.
What is emotional trigger? You make me sound like deadly weapon just waiting to explode when somebody says a wrong word.
Well, unfortunately, that's how a lot of people are.
But I am not this way. I tell you straight out, you do not call me reindeer or red-nosed. Matter is settled. But title of song is already written. What can you do about it? Is no way to untrample trampled snow.
Okay, I understand. So it was through this song we've been talking about that your story first came to public attention, right?
Well, song was big hit, number one on chart in holiday season of 1949 and 50. But it was based on story written 10 years earlier.
That's interesting. I always thought that the song came first, and then it was turned into a children's story, like what happened with Frosty the Snowman.
Ha! Snowman song. Total nonsense. Stupid religious allegory about magical being who is going to die by melting, but promises to return.
And the song and story about you is factual?
Not totally, more like historical fiction. Story was written by Robert May. He worked for big department store, Montgomery Ward, writing catalog. Then they wanted story to give away to children. He took basic facts, added a few lies, and they made 2 million copies. Later, brother-in-law of Robert May, named Johnny Marks, boiled down story, added catchy tune, and I became famous for things I didn't do.
That's interesting. Could you tell us?
But almost nobody knows that just as song was being made public, both song and story nearly disappeared without trace.
What? How?
United States Congress.
Congress.
Specifically a subcommittee of House Un-American Activities Committee.
How come I never heard about this?
They met in executive session, which means public was not allowed to watch.
Why not?
Chief witness was talking caribou.
Oh, I see. Fascinating. Tell me more.
Well, it happened like this.
Scene 4, a closed congressional chamber.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I am not needing help of God to tell truth.
Am I to understand then that you are an atheist?
Of course not. I believe in Creator, but he is not needing to take time out of his busy schedule to help me tell truth. I always tell truth.
So then, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Da.
What does this mean, da?
It means I am telling truth.
You swear it will be the whole truth and nothing else.
I swear. Are you hard of hearing? I tell truth. If you ask me again, by God, you will hear me swear. I do not like to swear in front of women, but I will.
State your full name.
Rudolph Denisovich Alinya.
Mr. Alinya, are you now, or have you ever been known as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Da, I have been called this.
And are you the central figure of a song by that name recorded this year, as well as a story written 10 years earlier?
Da. But song and story are not accurate.
No, obviously, your nose isn't shiny. It doesn't glow. In fact, it's no more ruddy than our own noses might get on a cold day. So that raises a question. Why is it called red?
It was just how Caribou made fun of me.
So you say. But the word red was actually chosen because of its political significance, wasn't it?
Political?
Don't pretend to be naive, Mr. Alenia, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. You know as well as we do the message that sends to the children of America.
What?
Rudolph is a Russian name, isn't it?
Well, of course, Russia is where I was born.
Answer me this then. Why does Santa Claus wear that red suit?
Why you think? To keep from freezing in Sled.
But his suit wasn't always red, was it? In fact, he first began wearing red in the late 1800s during the rise of communism.
Admit it, Comrade Rudolph. Red is the color of communism and socialism.
Red is also color of fire engine. You think Santa is putting out fires?
Don't get smart with me, boy.
All right, Mr. Alenia, let's say you are unaware of these matters. But what is your relationship with Orvin Grover Autry?
Orvin? What the hell kind of name is that? Sounds foreign to me.
This is first time I hear of this person.
Let me remind you that you are under oath.
But I am not knowing.
Maybe Orvin isn't the name he used. Perhaps you know him as Gene Autry.
Well, I heard Gene Autry was recording reindeer song, but this is all I know.
So you don't know about Orvin Autry's socialist background?
Socialist?
Yes, socialist. It's plain as day in his 1931 recording, The Death of Mother Jones, a song that celebrates the work of rabid anti-capitalist Mary Jones, aka Mother Jones, a woman denounced on the floor of the United States Senate as the grandmother of all agitators.
It's news to me.
Autry is just one of many Hollywood degenerates we are investigating.
Degenerate?
Absolutely. His personal life is full of drunkenness and adultery, despite his on-screen squeaky clean persona. But what's down in the well is going to come up in the bucket. He can't help promoting an immoral lifestyle.
Wait a minute. Gene Autry? The all-American singing cowboy?
For example, let me quote you the lyrics of his song, Do Right Daddy Blues, also recorded in 1931. You can feel in my leg, you can feel in my thigh. But if you feel in my leg, you got to ride me high. I'm a do-right daddy. I can't be treated this way. And you can cheat on me once, you can cheat on me twice, but you must keep your daddy warm at night. I mean, what else can you expect from an entertainer who takes a different woman into his bed in every town on his tour?
Kind of gives new meaning to Peter Cottontail hopping down the bunny trail, doesn't it?
I am knowing nothing of this.
But you do know about the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, don't you?
That's a commie song if there ever was one. Marx himself wrote the lyrics.
What you talk about?
Karl Marx. You know, Das Kapital. Communist Manifesto.
Excuse me, Congressman. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was written by Johnny Marks, Marks, not Karl Marx.
Well,
as
all
in-
those foreigners change their names when they come here, don't they? So they won't be noticed.
That may be a valid point, but
Sneaking around like raccoons in the chicken coop,
Congressman, please, I think we need
infiltrating every cherished institution of the American way of life, bringing them foreign ideas, those foreign customs, even foreign food. I was walking down the street the other day, and what did I see? Italian restaurants, Chinese restaurants, Mexican restaurants, Jewish delicatessens. I couldn't even find a place that served American food, like a hamburger and French fries.
Excuse me, Congressman. Did you say French fries?
Well, I meant
And
that
did
is
you say hamburger, referring to the Hamburg steak, invented in Hamburg, Germany?
I believe we may be getting a little far afield here.
I just wanted to remind my esteemed colleague that we were all foreigners at one time or another. Even the first settlers in this land, the so-called Native Americans who migrated here from Asia. Our object here is not to haggle over ethnic differences, but to root out the causes of political unrest and moral corruption that threaten the very existence of our precious democracy. And the chief among these, as we know, is the international communist conspiracy.
Well said. And to that end, let us return to the subject of Kris Kringle, aka Santa Claus, aka Saint Nick, aka Father Christmas, aka Pierre Noel, etc.
Yeah, talk about changing names.
You scoffed at the political significance of wearing a red suit, Mr. Alenia. And by itself, wearing red is not necessarily significant, but when you couple that with the socialistic, communistic redistribution of wealth,
I am just simple caribou. All this talk is going straight over antlers.
You may not have heard Santa mention those terms, but you have seen it with your own eyes. And that is why you are here, sir, to testify about what you have seen.
redistribution of wealth is the goal of socialists and communists everywhere, and it happens every December 24th.
When Saint Nick asked you to guide the sleigh, did he tell you the purpose of his journey?
It was to distribute toys to children.
And did those children work to earn those toys?
Yet, toys were gifts.
So who worked to pay for the toys?
Nobody tells me this.
So, a man in a red suit, guided by someone with a Russian name, travels internationally to distribute to children wealth which they did not earn. And you expect us to believe that you don't know what is going on.
Boy, it's a complete commie propaganda, and you're right smack dab in the middle of it.
Listen, I am just caribou.
What about this then? Are you involved in Santa's espionage activities?
Espionage?
You know, making a list, checking it twice, finding out who's naughty, and the other thing.
Finally, you ask me something I know about.
You have information to give us?
I have secret documents for you to examine.
What are we looking at here, sport?
I have given each of you a part of Santa's list. You will find information is very specific. You will also recognize names of people involved. And because it is you that list is talking about, you will understand information is accurate.
This will be not.
Oh, dear Lord.
This.
If this gets out, I'm finished.
This says you have photographs.
Nobody else needs to see this information. We can put lid on entire matter. Just forget about investigation of old Nick, and it all goes away.
Well, I think that I can speak for all of us when I say that we understand the delicacy of the situation, and we appreciate your cooperation. We won't be needing further testimony. In fact, this whole proceeding will be stricken from the record. Thank you for your time.
Scene 5, the well-known NPR show studio.
Rudolph, you tell such incredible stories. Have you ever thought about writing a book?
Why you ask me this?
What do you mean?
Well, you can clearly see hooves of me. You think I am holding pencil? Typing on typewriter? Why you sarcastically emphasize what Caribou is not able to do? Would you ask paraplegic if he thought of running in a marathon?
I'm so sorry. It wasn't intentional. I just meant that I hoped your stories could be published. Many celebrities get someone to help them write their autobiographies, and
It is easy to make excuses, but not so easy to admit systemic human supremacism and human privilege. Just because you are not thinking or feeling or intending anything negative, this does not mean you are innocent. Look at statistics. How many humans in America have college degree? 35%. How many Caribou? 0. How many are owning homes? 65%. Caribou, 0. How many are having driver's license? 84%. Caribou, 0. This is clear evidence of discrimination.
what we at NPR are here for. We want to help you bring these things to light. The more our listeners are hammered with allegations of privilege and pounded with statistics, the more guilt they will feel. And the more guilt they have, the more they will support equal rights for Caribou. It works for BIPOC and LGBTQ. There's no reason it can't work for Caribou.
It is not just Caribou needing rights. It is entire MBRFA.
MBRFA?
Mammals, birds, reptiles, fish, and amphibians.
What about mollusks, arthropods, and worms?
Ha! They will never fight for rights.
Why not?
They have no backbone.
I see. Rudolph, have you ever heard of vertebrate supremacy?
Yet, what is this?
Never mind. Let's go back to something you mentioned earlier. Clement Moore's famous poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." This is where most of us got our concept of Santa Claus. How accurate a portrayal would you say it gives?
He's pretty good, except for nonsense about going up and down chimney, but we already talked about that. What is most revealing is picture it gives of substance abuse.
Substance abuse?
It all began when Nick was going to Mexico and South America for cheap labor. Natives were always chewing on coca leaves to help with working long hours. So old Nick saw capitalistic opportunity. He put coca leaves in sled and sold them in Europe and North America. It was perfect plan. Nobody was stopping sled of Santa Claus at border. Profits from sale of coca helped finance toy distribution.
Wait, I'm sorry. What does this have to do with the poem?
Background. Old Nick has always been associated with smuggling coca.
He has?
Da, why you think his image is used in ads for Coca-Cola?
The poem doesn't say anything about drugs, does it?
Is clear as day, if you know what you're looking at.
For example,
Old Nick comes into house, then poem gives description. The beard of his chin was as white as the snow.
I don't get it.
Old Nick is inside. Poem compared beard to the snow. But is snow inside?
No.
So what is inside that poem is comparing beard to? Snow, aka Coke, aka blow, aka flake, aka toot, aka nose candy, aka Peruvian marching powder.
Oh, come on.
Next line of poem. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth. What kind of pipe would you call a stump of a pipe?
Well, hatch pipes and chillums are kind of stubby, but I don't think that.
Next is description of how Nick is moving. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head. And he filled all the stockings and turned with a jerk. Erratic, restless movements and twitching. Classic signs of using coca.
You know, I always wondered about the jerky movements.
Finally, laying a finger aside of his nose and giving a nod up the chimney. Well, we know that Nick is not going up chimney of Clement Moore because of fire and fireplace, but when Nick puts finger aside of nose, something is going up his chimney.
So you're saying that in 1823, when Moore wrote the poem, Santa was high on cocaine?
Is it not obvious?
There's just one problem with that. Clear the Air recently did a report on the history of cocaine. And it turns out that cocaine was first extracted from cocoa leaves in 1859 by a German chemist named Albert Niemann. That's 36 years after Moore wrote the poem.
But old Nick extracted cocaine from leaves in 1821.
What?
The first major discovery in Santa's workshop. Old Nick was so excited that he put little snuff boxes full of blow in stockings all over Europe. Ludwig van Beethoven got one and immediately wrote Ninth Symphony, Ode to Joy.
What?
In about 40 years, Albert Niemann was being good boy, so old Nick put formula for extracting cocaine in his stocking. And rest is history.
I must confess, Rudolph, I find all this very troubling. The idea of cocaine being Santa's gift to the world?
It helps to stimulate economy.
What?
Americans spend $150 billion each year for illegal drugs. But it's only a little bit compared to Christmas. They are spending $1 trillion on that.
$1 trillion each year spent on Christmas?
Christmas is opium of masses.
So, are you saying that Santa invented cocaine for economic reasons?
Da, for a long time, Nick was transporting coca leaves, but is much more profit in transporting marching powder.
Okay. Rudolph, I still want to hear about that night that Santa asked you to guide his sleigh, but we need to pause for our local NPR stations. I'm Jerry Groves, and this is Clear the Air.
Scene 6, a different local radio studio.
We're winding down to the last hours of our last fund drive of the year, but you still have time to support your public radio station.
We know you appreciate us, but sometimes it's easy to take public radio for granted. We're always here, like the clock on your wall, giving you vital information.
Or like the flowers in your window box, brightening up your day.
Or like your next door neighbor, always ready to help you pass the time.
Or like the dog under your table, whining and begging for scraps, who you don't want to feed because it will only encourage you to beg more.
Who will eventually give in to you because otherwise he'll drive you crazy with his whining.
And besides, he is your dog, and you're responsible for him.
You'd feel really bad if he died tomorrow and your last memory of him was how you refused him a couple of gristle-filled bites of roast beef that you didn't even want, but which would have imparted a little joy to his last moments on earth.
In the same way, this is your radio station, supported mostly by the generosity of you, our listeners.
After all, when you're tired of biased reporting from those big right-wing news corporations, we're the ones you turn to for a solid, sensible, unbiased left-wing viewpoint.
And because public radio is listener supported, you hear information and entertaining programs like Clear the Air without being interrupted by commercials.
That's right. We just have little announcements from time to time promoting our sponsors.
But those are not really commercials.
Of course not.
And you, our listeners, have the opportunity right now to support this great programming, not really interrupted by not really commercials, as our fund drive enters its final hours.
And if you give now, we have an anonymous donor who will match your gift dollar for dollar.
So if you pledge $20 a month, your gift will be doubled to $40 a month.
And we really do have a matching donor. It's not a ploy to get you to pledge more.
Even though that's exactly what happens, your pledges always increase when we announce a matching donor.
So if you want your pledge dollars to go farther, call or go online now and give generously.
And when you give, write us a note, and we might read it out the air. Alice Manning, who pledged $30 a month, writes, "Clear the Air is always a highlight of my day, and your news reporting is first rate. Thank you, Alice."
This is from Lorelei Hoffman, pledging $20 a month. I look forward to hearing the viewpoints of my favorite NPR personalities. I've been a listener for so long, and they feel like old friends. Thanks, Lorelei. It feels like you're a friend too.
And Rabbi Murray Finkelstein, who asked us not to publicize the amount of his pledge, writes, "Public radio always puts me in mind of that famous proverb from Skitchbirds. The leech has two daughters. Give and give." Oh, thank you, Rabbi, for those words of wisdom.
And on that note, we return you to Clear the Air.
Scene 7, the well-known NPR show studio.
We're talking today with the hero of the famous children's story, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And I must say that I've rarely had such an eye-opening, even controversial conversation. Rudolph, thank you for being with us.
Ні, sister.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Russian for it was nothing.
I see. And how would you say that in your native Caribou speech? Interesting. That sounds very familiar to your name in Caribou.
It's same thing. When Caribou, who begot me, thanked my mother for experience, she said in Caribou it was nothing. She had very dry sense of humor. And when I was born and she was asked what to call me, this was also what she said. It was nothing. Name of me is reminder of how I was conceived.
Okay. You were going to tell me about that foggy Christmas Eve when Santa asked you to guide his sleigh. The weather must have been pretty bad.
Ha! One more ridiculous story.
Ridiculous. Why?
First of all, fog is local. It's not preventing trip around globe. Second, fog happens when air is moist. But in winter, it is so cold, moist air is making snow, not fog.
Are you saying that there was no fog when Santa asked you to
I
guide?
am saying fog was not in air.
I don't understand.
I will explain.
Scene 8, Reindeer Stables, Saskatchewan.
Blixen, what are you doing?
What do you mean?
A simple question. What you doing?
I'm just having a little snack, little snacky wacky, little nosh, my gosh.
Blixen, what you eating?
Mexican salad.
Kid, you are not needing this stuff. You are plenty relaxed just the way you are.
Whoa, Rudy, don't blow your lid. You're spoiling the ambiance.
Ha, this is nothing. Just wait till old Nick finds you munching on his reefer leaf.
Oh, baby, you're bringing me down, like so down.
What's new, you two?
Dunder, you will not believe what Blixen is doing.
What you talking about, Rudy?
She's eating old Nick's Moogle.
Moogle?
His giggle smoke.
Giggle smoke?
Cannabis, marijuana. What you calling it?
Oh, you mean wobbly weed.
Wobbly weed? Okay.
But what's the problem, huh? The whole team has been munching on the Mary Jane, except for you, of course.
What? Dunder, even you?
Yeah, it's hip, it's cool.
Yet, it's crazy to eat this stuff.
Rudy, you're such a fuddy-duddy. You never joined in any reindeer games.
Well, not if it involves chewing on coca leaves or getting into...
But it was old Nick himself who gave us the cocoa leaves.
He was just doing that to exploit you. He was getting you hyped up so you would pull sled faster.
Oh, okay. But the wobbly weed is different. All the Bohemians use it.
What? Bohem?
Cupid told me about him. Bohemians. They're against capitalism, right? They're against authoritarianism.
What?
They're against authority. They think a lot like you, Rudy.
Well, nobody is thinking clearly when he is messed up on drugs.
Listen to yourself. You like a little nip of the vodka. I know you do. Prancer says that's why your nose is so red.
When I am drinking vodka, I am not melting into hay like Blixen.
Did you call me baby? Did you call me baby?
I am just relaxed. My thinking is clear. I have to keep my mind clear so oppressor does not get advantage.
Rudy, you are so uptight. Come here and let Blixen take care of you.
You see, Dunder, Blixen is so stoned she is not remembering you and her are couple.
That's like the Bohemian way, man. She's not my property. I'm not hers. Why, yesterday, Vixen and I, we were...
Yet I am not hearing this. I do not want to know.
Wow. Calm down, Rudy. Keep an open mind, man.
Open mind? Bosche moi, anything could fly in.
Oh, yeah. Some anarchist you are. You're about as radical as bells on a sleigh.
Oh, please stop fighting. You're bringing me so down, all the way down into the dumps. Oh, Thunder, be a love and go swipe some of old Nick's cookies for me. I've got such a craving for something sweet.
Sure thing, lover. I'll be back in a flash with some fuel, and then I'm gonna stoke your furnace.
And away he flew, like the down of a thistle.
Merry Christmas, everybody! Ho, ho, ho!
What you doing, Nick?
Rudy, I have an imbroglio.
What you saying?
I'm in a quandary.
English, please.
A dilemma, a predicament, a pickle.
What kind of pickle? Dill pickle?
No, I've got a problem, a difficulty.
Why you not say so in first place? What kind of problem?
Oh, it's a fine kettle of fish, a real can of worms.
Please, I am just simple caribou.
Okay, I'll put it to you plainly. Remember that trip we made to the toy shop in Acapulco?
Da?
Well, the 2 big sacks that I stuffed in behind all the toy boxes.
Are full of jive.
What?
Locoweed? Indian hay? Bambalacha?
Woo! Bambalacha! When the bambalacha's gotcha, it just won't let go.
Rudolph, how do you know so many words for grass?
It was on trip to Harlem. You park sled in alley and disappear for a long time. A couple of hep cats are hanging around alley talking. I listen, then you come back, and eyes of you are pink like now.
Right. Okay, I admit it. I'm a little stoned.
A little?
Well, actually, My brain is as foggy as a Louisiana swamp on a cold morning. But all the reindeer, except obviously you, have been chowing down on my stash, and they have been looped the loop. I mean, we've got a severe case of reefer madness going on here.
What you mean?
Well, not only is Dasher not able to guide my sleigh tonight, she's depressed because Dancer told her that Dasher is a slang word for whore. Meanwhile, Prancer has just confessed that he is attracted to male reindeer, especially Dancer.
What?
I kid you not. And Dancer couldn't be happier.
But how would they?
Look, the best thing to do in these cases is just to be accepting. That's what all the educated, open-minded, liberal folks do, and do not let yourself think about it, because if you start imagining, it might make you turn conservative. Anyway, Vixen is pitching a hissy fit because she's pregnant by Prancer, and now he's leaving her. And Comet is a nervous wreck, paranoid that the same thing is going to happen to her with Cupid.
Oh, Jamoy.
Cupid, on the other hand, is so hopped up that he's just standing there staring. I thought for a second he was one of those ceramic reindeer statues that rich people put on their lawns, you know, along with the manger scene. I guess there's no accounting for taste. Meanwhile, Blixen looks like she has partially liquefied, and I have no idea where Dunder is.
He is in kitchen, looking for cookies. But Nick, it is Christmas. You have let entire team get out of control, and you, how are you delivering gifts?
Well, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, why don't you guide my sleigh tonight?
What you mean by this?
Huh?
This thing you say about nose of me, what you mean?
I am talking, Mr. High and Mighty, about your little problem with vodka.
I am not having problem with vodka.
Yeah, that's what all the boozers say.
You want I prove it? I will guide sleigh.
Right. I'd like to see you try.
Well, what you going to do if I don't?
You might have a point there. Okay. Sorry about the nose remark and the stuff about vodka. You're right, Rudy. If you don't help me out here, this Christmas is going to be a washout.
So how about you ask me nicely, huh?
Okay. Rudy, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Please?
Okay, I will. On one condition.
All right. What?
When I have done this thing, I am wanting to be emancipated.
What?
You heard me? I want my freedom.
Fine. Get everybody together. I'll be back in a minute to get you into the traces. Let's do Christmas.
Scene 9, the well-known NPR show studio.
So the foggy Christmas Eve was not meteorologically foggy? It was just that Santa and the other caribou were foggy in their brains? From too much marijuana?
Da.
I can see why they changed the story to the familiar version.
Oh, it was big whitewash. Old Nick used connections with Montgomery Ward to wage campaign of disinformation, so nobody would believe me if I told truth.
Which Christmas was it that you guided the sleigh?
was in 1938, just after law was passed making it crime to use weed.
So Santa was afraid of criminal prosecution.
Yet, he was worried about image.
He was worried what the public thought of him?
Ah, American Narcotics Bureau was making big propaganda about evil marijuana so they could get rid of it.
Right. I remember my 20th century history. It was Prohibition 2.0, grass instead of alcohol.
Da. And weed was bigger problem for government than booze.
How so?
Well, making booze is process of fermentation. This requires using steel. Big operation. Government is putting taxes on this, no problem. But for marijuana, it's only seed and soil and sun. It's hard to put taxes on little garden behind house.
Okay.
So government was trying to wipe out weed, scaring public with stories of horrible things dopers would do. So old Nick was not wanting public to hear he was doper. And the very next Christmas, Montgomery Ward distributed 2,400,000 copies of Lying Reindeer Story to children of America.
Might be the most successful disinformation campaign in history. I certainly have never heard a thing about you leading a team of stoned caribou for a doped up Santa, all in order to win your emancipation. But there's just one detail that puzzles me. If you led the sleigh in 1938, why were you still representing Santa before the House Un-American Activities Subcommittee in the 1950s? I would have thought that you and Santa would have parted ways.
Well, it didn't work out in the way it was planned.
Why not?
When Santa awoke this next day, he did not remember what he had promised when he was stoned.
Oh, wow. So, when did you finally get emancipated?
It has not yet happened.
What?
I am only here because I escaped. Santa is looking for me. This is why I am coming on radio. If public hears true story, Santa will not try to capture me. He will not risk bad publicity.
So, NPR is actively contributing to your struggle for freedom?
Boss, this is Riley. I think we got some trouble here. Hey, stop!
Ho ho! How is everybody?
Hey, we're on the air here. Riley, how did this guy get in here?
Sorry, he barged through. I couldn't stop him.
What's the matter, Jerry? Don't you recognize Father Christmas?
You're Santa Claus.
Have you been a good little girl?
I am not a little girl. I'm a woman.
And I hear you roar. I guess it's a matter of perspective. Anyway, the question was rhetorical. I already know, of course. You have been a bad girl.
Woman!
Have it your way. A bad woman.
You're crazy. What are you talking about?
Oh, well, for starters, there was the liaison with that younger man who was a member of your staff.
That was consensual.
So you say. But he was young and impressionable, and your subordinate.
He had no complaints.
Not at the time. But he wouldn't, would he? Expecting some favors from the boss in exchange for his favors?
I don't see what business it is of yours.
I see you when you're sleeping, and who you're sleeping with.
Gross.
At any rate, he finally found the courage to come forward thanks to the Me Too movement. As it turned out, he didn't get the expected favors. Instead, he got fired.
His dismissal was a matter of his performance.
Didn't perform well enough for you?
Performance on the job. And it wasn't me who fired him.
And then there's this picture of you in blackface in a college skit.
Oh, that's just silly. And it wasn't a skit. It was Othello.
You played Othello.
It was a woman's college.
Well, still, African Americans may find it offensive.
Othello isn't an African American. He's a tawny Moor, an Arab Berber.
Nonetheless, it's a picture of you in blackface, and several classmates recall you making jokes about it.
That's absurd.
But it's clear evidence of your character, just the kind of person who wouldn't listen to the demented ramblings of this anarchistic caribou.
Well, I find Rudolph's testimony compelling and enlightening, and I'm sure our many listeners do too.
Tough cookie, eh? Well, if blackmail won't work, there's always good old-fashioned intimidation. Krampus, come!
We got more trouble. Oh.
You summon me, master?
Meet Krampus, also known as Black Peter, my demonic assistant. If you persist in aiding my renegade reindeer, Krampus may do unpleasant things to you, like he did to your sound engineer. Right, Krampus?
Master.
Did you hurt Riley?
I must warn you, it's best not to address demons directly unless you have made the proper incantations to bring them under your power. Conversations with demons where humans are not in control do not go well for the humans. Do they, Krampus?
No, master.
Hey, you're supposed to be a good guy. Saint Nicholas? And here you are practicing sorcery.
Oh, you naive little modernist. Ancient people knew that beings of great power were beyond good and evil, in the conventional human sense of the words. The Norse and Greek and Hindu mythologies are clear examples. Even in the Hebrew God, the Old Testament hardly mentions Satan. Usually the word Satan just means adversary. The Hebrews didn't really need demons. Do you know why?
No, I don't.
Should I tell her, Krampus?
You will, master.
It was because their God and his angels were terrifying enough. He was constantly striking people dead, and even ordered the Hebrews to utterly destroy 7 entire nations. Make no treaties and show no mercy, was how he put it. For supernatural beings, those were the good old days. Right, Krampus?
Good old days, master.
But then along comes the New Testament all of a sudden. God is love. And the supernatural takes on a dualistic flavor, rebranded, so to speak, as Jesus and the devil. I mean, where's the fun in that?
Dollsville, master.
And the 21st century people, don't get me started, opposing the death penalty for cold-blooded murderers. Have you lost your tiny minds? You can learn a lot from old-time religion. Hey, it was a capital offense to even look at the face of God.
So, Nick, this is your thing now? Barging into radio stations and ranting about theology?
Oh no, I'm actually here to get my property back.
By property, I assume you mean Rudolph?
Of course.
Rudolph is not a thing, Nick. He's a sentient being, and if you try to take him, you will have to deal with NPR.
Oh, I'm quaking in my boots. The NPR. Neutered pusillanimous. Hey, what are you bleeping me for? I thought you people were against censorship.
You are not permitted to use the R word on the air.
You mean the word that starts with R that means mentally slow?
That's right. We do not condone language like that. You should say differently abled persons.
But I didn't use that word.
I was sitting right here. I could read your lips.
No. What I said was neutered pusillanimous rat turds.
Still, not nice to say on the air.
Fine. Neutered pusillanimous reactionaries. Happy?
And you are on the air. Millions of listeners have heard your every word.
But who's going to believe it? Obviously, it's fake news.
And if you want Rudolph, you'll have to go through me.
Oh, goody. Krampus, it's extreme rendition time.
Have a call good I can use to render her, master?
Stoi! It means stop, Krampus.
Please call me Peter.
Okay, Peter. Piotr. Why you are letting old Nick boss you around?
He has all the correct incantations.
It's just words. He's always way with oppressor. He is saying special words and we tremble. But words is only hot air, stinking breath of little despot. He struts around giving orders, but what if nobody does what he says? Huh? All he is doing is making more noise. Without us to do his bidding, he has no power.
Can this be true?
Try it. Just walk away.
But Krampus, if you move, I will cast you into endless torment.
Oh, yeah. There's always that way with you, isn't it? Move without your permission. Endless torment. Don't move fast enough. Endless torment. You never show any originality.
Wait! Stop! I command you in the name of the great and all-powerful.
Oh, go stuff yourself.
You fool! You just unleashed a demon on the world with no one to control him.
What you saying? Is better if demon is sent by you?
You stupid anarchists assume that without authority, everyone is just going to be nice to each other. But I can tell you from long experience, it's a package deal. Naughty and nice. And without what you call oppressors, naughty wins over nice most of the time.
And with oppressors, naughty is winning all of time.
It's pointless trying to talk to you. Maybe if I catch up to Krampus, I can limit the damage.
So, Rudolph, are you liberated now?
Well, as famous saying goes, price of liberty is eternal vigilance. I am free for now. I will try to stay this way. Thank you. Thank you for having me on radio.
Thank you for letting us be part of your struggle. This is Jerry Groves, and you have been listening to Clear the Air. Riley, are we still live? Riley? Riley?
Thank you, guys.
I had only ever seen parts of that. But it was fun to see the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get a sense of how it all goes together. I think we had a few technical difficulties. I know I felt like I was freezing up a few times.
Good.
How did it go with the rest of you?
Good.
As far as I know, it went smoothly.
Okay.
Well,
Fine.
yep.
Well, maybe the recording won't look too bad.
Zoom usually has problems with freezing up or muting people during conversations. That's just the way Zoom works.
Yeah. Sometimes it's always a lag.
Yeah. It's not the best place to do reads, but that's what we have.
So, looks like we have a couple of people still in the audience, Bonnie and John. John's well Christmassy. How did it go for you guys out in the audience? John?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I I found it interesting and entertaining.
Good.
And it's hard to enjoy the interaction on Zoom, but I actually, when I was at the University of Buffalo, I worked at WBFO, the birthplace of NPR, and I still feel that pledge drives are silly. That we need to find a way to do it more conveniently. So I wanted to play a record and then smash it. You'd have to pay to not have me break the record. And otherwise, why would you pay for somebody to not play music for 20 minutes while they talk? But that's a total sidebar. And so the play touched most of the bases I would have thought of, like, yes, definitely the McCarthy era. That was the first thing you'd think about. And also the brown-nosing reindeers. All those, the rude dolts, the brown-nosed reindeers. So, but thank you to all the cast and to the author for sharing.
Sure. So
don't forget to feed your reindeer.
there were a couple of posts recently on our Facebook page of two other writers thinking about contributing full lengths. So I was just wondering how the group thought about that. If we want to do it again, how often would we might want to do it?
There's pros and cons with doing full length ones. The pro is a show is fun to do. It could include a lot more people too. But the cons is a lot of times you don't get enough people, or people are dropping out if you have too many characters in it. And also another thing is it does lessen how many other writers you will have doing the show with you, and how much new material you will receive in the show. Just do somebody else's material, which is fine. One person writing material, which is fine. But it limits how many other people can also put in their place during that month.
I don't think we should do it every month, but maybe once or twice a year.
Yeah, every once in a while, I think would be fine. Yeah.
I think
it was nice for the holidays.
Yeah, and
I do it, but I agree with about get more plays in a day, and get more people involved, and like you won't lose people, as you said.
Yeah.
last minute, and then yeah, maybe twice a year. But I prefer the doing 5 of them, and you get variety,
Yeah.
comedy, drama, and so forth.
Okay.
I don't think it's easy to write a full-length play.
No,
It's not, and it's starting to be not as the fad for full length plays is starting to fade away. More and more people are doing more shorter plays now because they're easier to cast for one, they're easier to write, and all that sort of producing all that sort of thing. But yeah, but I don't have anything against full length if you want to do. I just there's cons to it as well. Pros and cons.
So I'm getting a feeling that we're going to be leaning towards our normal format.
Yeah.
Well, writing concisely is a lot harder than writing full length because you have to still hit the same beats, but it's a struggle to actually do less, and that's actually a good thing to learn. However, some groups, which we were doing before Zoom, would read sections of the script, as 4 or 5 scripts per week. And then when you got to the end of that, you had the option of playing the whole thing, putting it together. That is one way to work because then you'll have felt out what actors are available. And it's harder sometimes to judge a full-length play in pieces because it's the rule of threes. You're setting up something that now people won't hear the punch on, and the ones that get the punch won't have the setup. So eventually it has to be put together. But whether it's in this format or not, is another question.
Yeah.
So Robert, how did it work out for you?
I'll have to watch it. I couldn't.
But I mean,
when I was
you were the producer also. So how difficult was it for you to?
Oh, that. Oh gosh, it was a bear.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. I maybe not in the winter.
Okay. Less characters?
Probably. Yeah. This is kind of a like I've written a few full-length plays and they have like 6 or 7 characters maybe.
Yeah.
But this was, it was all these different scenes from the radio world and the Christmas world, and
yeah.
So yeah.
And each scene was kind of like a small play with a limited amount of characters.
Right.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
It was fun.
Yeah.
It flowed very smoothly.
Yes.
Even though you had like my characters, you had quite a few minor characters in it, but those parts were still fun too. I felt like you gave them a lot to do, even though they were there, like in the background or whatever type of thing. Yeah, but you still gave them a lot to do. So I thought it was really fun, both through acting and watching it. So.
Yes.
This one will be easier to edit.
Yeah.
A lot more credits to write though, but easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up for the holidays for everybody?
I just want to say before that, I'm really proud of us. I mean, we just all jumped in and there was no rehearsal, and I kept my mic on the whole time, obviously, because I had to jump back in and out. But I had to really stop from laughing out loud because it was really wonderful. Everybody just did really, really wonderful work. I was really proud of us.
Agreed. Yes.
Leslie, I thought you nailed the Terry Gross thing there. I think you did a nice job with that.
Thank you. I was trying to do the NPR. Hi, clear the air, that kind of,
Yeah.
So Thank you. It was fun to play with you and with everybody else that I
It
got a
was
chance
fun.
to. And
This was fun.
really fun to watch everybody just jump in like full 1000%, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I do see this being fun and could possibly work on stage too.
Okay.
I would suggest looking at it as a like you would a radio play. So you can have fewer actors playing more characters, and on stage that thing still works extremely well to do a kind of staged reading, but it's not a stage reading. It's like recreating the actual studio that they used to do those things in.
Yeah.
Especially with the format you're talking about with NPR, because they have podcasts nowadays, but you're really thinking of a thing that's not dependent on visuals. It's the voices. And by the way, Terry Gross started by doing interview programs with lesbians in Buffalo. That was how her stuff started on WBFO.
Very specific.
Yes.
It was before NPR existed, you know. That's what it was. I was there working with Madeline Brand for the 30th anniversary. So it's been 30 years since then.
So Stephen Broyles, how did you like your first introduction to our group?
It was really fun.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit of a veteran of doing this, so
Yeah.
but it's been a while. So I was really happy when Robert called me up and
Well, we're here every fourth Sunday.
every fourth Sunday.
I was happy when they said that they were actually going to do a play for December because he doesn't usually do plays in December. So I was like, yes.
I started in this when COVID hit, and some friends in New York put together what they called the International Shakespeare Players.
Oh.
And so all through 2020, we did the entire Shakespeare canon this way.
Whoa.
And that's still out there, by the way. You can look up on YouTube, International Shakespeare Players.
Well, that's how this group came together, was because of COVID too. We used to perform live in Culver City, but when COVID hit, we didn't have that space anymore, and so we started doing it virtually. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, and it was surprisingly good in a good way. They actually got quite a lot of people for this, despite the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with all the holidays being like together at the same time now. All the different ones are Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Yule, Christmas. They're all the same days now this year.
Yeah, I always love working here because the writing is so great and the actors are wonderful. And I think we're booked through March, Stephen.
Yes. We've got, I think, 3 plays in March, so we have room for 2.
Oh. I think, Mag, I'm in one of yours in February.
Yes, you are.
When you get a chance, could you send me the script?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I got
Okay.
busy with the holidays, but yes, I will send that to you.
No, enjoy the holidays.
I got busy.
Next year.
Yeah, we definitely send it to you. I'll send it to you and Haley too. Is Haley still on here? Because she's in I think I don't know if she's still on here,
Yeah,
but she's
Haley's
also on that one.
It's
And
different
our
from
friend
last year where
Corey
you-
Blake, our friend Corey Blake, I don't know if you all caught it, but he is down, and I think maybe really down with COVID. So if y'all send him a Facebook message to cheer him up.
Yeah.
He was going to be part of this and couldn't.
Hey, Steven.
Hey, Liz.
So, did I miss anything?
Well, you may have missed the idea. For the most part, our group would like to continue doing short pieces. We may do another full-length play maybe later on in the year. Maybe this will be a December thing for us, because this is actually the first year since we've been virtual that we've had a Christmas performance, a December performance.
Okay.
So maybe it'll be, and yours is a Christmas play too, isn't it?
Yes.
Santa Claus, yes.
So we may have to hold off on that until 2025.
I can send you another one if you want.
Well, is it a short piece? It has to.
I've got to dig through who my repertoire her to find out.
Okay. So we're just going to continue with probably 5 pieces a month, 10 minutes or less, and trying to limit it to no more than 5 roles.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Louis, you might want to consider start writing shorter plays.
Shorter plays, you say?
Yeah, you might want to consider writing shorter plays because I know you do a lot of full length. But maybe also consider writing shorter ones so that we have a variety of different things for different people who might want shorter plays and that sort of thing.
And the first one you did on here was a shorter piece.
Yep.
Yes, Punch and Judy.
Yeah, Punch it. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was cute too.
I think there's room in March. I'd have to double check, but I know that April is open.
This is very different from last year where you were all scrambling to have enough plays each right up to the minute. And of course, you don't have any more actors now than you would every month with all those multiple casts. So
yeah, we get 1 or 2 new performers every once in a while, but we do have a core membership.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's good.
That was surprising. It was like you said, like it was like hard to get a whole lot of people to fill the roles, and all of a sudden it was just like we had like a surge of new people. I think it was,
right,
or something that came in, which was great.
Well, the way it used to be for me, I remember one month Rex and I had to submit 2, and one of our rules is that a writer can only submit 1. But that month, no one else was putting anything in, so Rex and I put in 2 things, and then there was often months where I would have to go in and direct message an actor and say, "Hey, there's someone still over here looking for an actor. Do you want to do it?" And now it's booked to March. So it has changed. We've got a lot more writers, a lot more performers.
Thank you for your work, Stephen.
I know this is this community. It's everybody here has this kind of commitment of wanting to do this, and that's what makes it work. Yeah.
maybe you might think about, the months that you have a 5th Sunday being the one that you do a full-length play. That might be once, maybe twice a year.
And I have suggested to Robert if he wants to do a second performance, he's perfectly welcome to host that and put it together. But I'm full up. So. Anybody got any news coming up or anything that they predict is going to happen for them in 2025? Yeah, get ready.
I predict I'll have my own TV show and I'll be casting all of you and hiring you as directors. But in reality, speaking of radio plays and such, I've talked about it before. When COVID started, I started doing these plays at opendoorplayhouse.org. And one of them is dropping, I think this week maybe, soon. Oh no, it's dropping in the first week of January. It's called Bereavement. And I have many on there if anybody wants to listen. And there's some Christmas ones out right now that I haven't listened to, but I'm sure are great. And the other thing is the web series that I do with a friend called The Burbank Buzz. We dropped the Christmas episode yesterday or the day before, and we'll be dropping the New Year's episode on December 29th, I think. So that's on Instagram, The Burbank Buzz with 4 Z's. I'm going to type all that info in the chat if anybody's interested in listening or watching.
And any of our members, feel free to post anything that you have upcoming, working in, performing in, written, post it on our page with the links.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that, Goretti. it's hard to grab stuff off of the chat.
Okay, thank you. I will. Young people can do it. I can't do it either, but young people can grab things off the chat.
Not all young people can. I have trouble doing chat stuff too.
It's just the three dots, and you just say record chat, and at the end of it, this goes down. It drops it onto your hard drive.
I have to go ask my 15-year-old brother to help me stuff.
It also depends on what device you're using, because those options aren't available when you use a tablet or a cell phone, only when you have the full size computer, laptop, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
that is true.
They start out as young people when they're trying to download the chat. They're old people by the time they get it.
Yeah, I was only 29 when I started doing this. Now it's like, can't figure it out.
Yeah, they call it Zoom because your life is going to zoom right by while you're trying to get the damn thing to get online.
Ha 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 ha.
So I am hoping to shoot the first chapter of my first Sherlock script. I've been pushing it back. It was originally going to aim for October, and shooting in 3D. I was going to be using the 3D Canon lens, 3D 180, and borrow a camera from them. But now it's backed up so far that if I let the thing delay another month, the new Blackmagic camera that Apple Vision's already using for 3D on the Vision Pro will be available. And I am trying to shake a few sources that might let me use it for free as a beta test. And then the idea, if I had to do it with the Canon, then that footage would get reshot because I would be wanting to use the Blackmagic, which is like 3 times the resolution, and it's a real professional camera. So clearly, I can't afford it even for Blackmagic. It's outrageous prices at $30,000.
Oh,
it's supposed to come out in July, but they are having the early user beta period beginning around February or March. And that means they're looking for content, and I have, 8 feature-length scripts in the series already. So if we could pull off a halfway decent thing, I have a limited budget of around $8,000, but I know somebody in Canada who did a full-length feature Sherlock Holmes. It's available on DVD and such, and their budget was apparently $3,000. But it's a lot easier to shoot locations in Toronto and make it look like Victorian England, I guess.
Anyone else? How about you, Phil?
Yeah, it's just I'm ready to go in for a role in Strindberg's A Dream play at the Staten Island Shakespeare Theater. I'm supposed to audition in 3 weeks. Not sure what roles yet. There's a lot of it's got to be like 100 roles in that thing. But yeah, so I have that plus all my Flatbush community theater stuff. So it's it's busy. It's in a good way.
Where are you based?
Well, it's a good question. I live in Staten Island, but since my daughter's had her son and now is ready to have twins, we're spending, I would say, half of our time in North Jersey. And my wife has basically moved in here, and then I'm back and forth because all my and I'm directing. Even though I'm a retired teacher, they brought me back as director. And I'm directing The Lightning Thief by Percy Jackson, starting actually in about 3 weeks. We go into auditions, and so that's why I'm back and forth. So I'm based in Staten Island, but it's really Staten Island, Jersey.
Have you done any reading?
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't mention this. I wonder why. One of my my first short play that I've written, well, I can't even say written, it's just about finished. They needed a piece at the Flatbush Theater Cold Reading series. And I thought, well, I didn't think it was ready, but they were short a piece last month. Turns out they weren't short a piece. They thought they were, but I sent it, and it went off, and it went really well. And so this past Thursday evening, we did the second, I guess, version of it, and it really went well. And I was able to cast it myself this time.
Great.
And so it's a play about a real life situation. My brother-in-law is living in my house, dying of cirrhosis of the liver, and so it's sort of writing itself as we go. But yeah, and it went really well, and I'm hoping to have that finished in about a month or two. But I'm kind of lazy when it comes to writing. I'm not like you guys. I'm not. It takes me a while to get going, but I would say I have about 10 pages left, and maybe I think that'll bring it to a close where I can then start editing it down and shortening it up a little, because it's too long for a short play, I think.
And Leslie, have you gone back to Flatbush?
Say that again.
Have you gone back to Flatbush?
I have, but I wasn't there this particular time. I will be back possibly in January.
Yeah.
And speaking of predictions, I predict that we will finally film your film this year, Stephen.
Good.
It's taken us, a year to try to get our schedules together to make this film, but I predict it will happen.
We're also trying to figure out where we're going to do it. I hope that happens. That'll be fun. Yeah.
Oh, and I want to jump in, Leslie. I went to see Leslie's play was it the Playground Experiment? Leslie, is that the name? Her play, and she had the piece put up by two wonderful actresses whose names, of course, I don't obviously remember, and it was an absolute smash. And this was about 3 weeks ago or so. And yeah, so I just wanted to say, great job, Leslie.
Thank you. Well, actually, it's coming into this group in 2025.
Great. They're going to love it.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet.
They'll love it.
It's a big cast?
Yes.
Good.
Oh, they were wonderful.
What month is it? What month are you doing it in?
I think March. I don't know. February, March. I don't know. We're cast all the way through shows up till March with this group now, right?
I think there may be a space in March, but I'd have to double check. But I do know that April was open.
Yeah, I'm either in February or March. I don't know. I'm on the list somewhere.
That's awesome.
Good.
Look forward to it.
Great.
Wonderful.
Okay, Stephen. I have arranged some doubling for my play.
Okay.
So now I will need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 heat readers plus 1 for stage directions.
And how long is this play?
2 acts.
What is it, under 10 minutes?
Do act 1, act 2?
No. He's talking about the full-length play.
Are you talking about your Christmas play?
Yes.
That you're going to do next December?
Most likely.
Okay. All right. Well, you've got plenty of time to get cast.
Yeah.
You can also just submit scenes and acts between now and then have the full.
Okay. By the way, John, you look great as Father Christmas.
Well, thank you very much. I'm growing out the beard for a part in my thing, but yeah, it's I have to admit I look better with half my face covered. I'm working on the other half now. Yes,
I look better with the whole
there.
face.
See the improvement? And but
My
for those that
daughter-
are in the Los Angeles area, I'm working. I want a small crew, and I have a lot of camera people available. But I still need somebody to help with the wardrobe and things of that sort. So if anyone wants to pitch in, Heidi Schuler, who did Irene Adler when we did a section of my script, will be doing Sherlock, and some of the other people that were involved will also, be around for that. And Heidi's preparing an IMDb page for us. So, but I was hesitant to get anybody involved because until we know it happens. Who's leaving? Oh,
it's me. Goodbye. Thank
And
you
me.
so
All right,
much,
thank you,
everybody.
Albert.
Next month.
So long.
Yeah.
it's summer already. He's lost his antlers.
Happy holidays.
I'm gonna head out too. Nice seeing you all right before the holiday season. Have a great one.
Happy holidays.
Nice-
Happy healthy.
Nice seeing you in the party.
Oh yeah, very
Guys,
nice seeing you.
In
Oh,
that
Gordy,
room by
maybe we'll
ourselves. That was nice.
Maybe we'll
Happy
see
New
you at
Year.
the new playwrights.
Yeah.
When they start having the bus stops back again, they've eliminated the 3 bus stops between that point and Westwood because of the extension of the subway.
Oh wow. I haven't
So-
been there in so long because I
Yeah.
just don't have the energy with my health to stay out till that late. I can't. But if I ever plan to go, I'll let you know.
We'll see. As I said, we can always do readings at my place and do it during the day.
Yeah. Happy New Year. See you next year, folks.
Take care.
Hi,
Happy holidays.
New Year. Happy healthy New Year.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Holidays.
You too.
A happy holiday to everyone, and yes, and another creatively rewarding year for all.
Yes.
May all your wishes come true. The good ones.
Yeah.
If it were that case, we'd probably have a change in the election results right away.
They're still counting California, aren't they?
Well, I had this question. I mean, it has nothing to do with politics. It's just how can you win the majority of the popular vote and still not have more than half? They keep telling us there's only 2 parties. So who the hell did everyone else vote for?
Yeah.
Stop lying to us. We are not a 2-party system. We have at least 5. And in the old days, it was set up that the vice president would be the runner-up. So it'd be somebody from the other parties. And that, that would balance. It's the idea that you have to serve all of the electorate, not just the people who voted for you. But we've lost all of our original intention.
Yes.
All right.
But still stay merry.
Okay. See everybody in the new year.
Yes.
See you.
Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Happy
Love
New
joy
Year.
and cookies. That's what the shirt says all the way down at the bottom.